Episode 3, The Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
How did he know?
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
18th of February, 9:21 a.m. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. Looks like a fortress. There's some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built a few short decades since we opened our borders outside to the outside world. An authentic example like this is quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed. Certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences in just construction materials. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Naruhodo said. It is the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Lord Chief Justice. We are instructions to report here at this time. If circumstances were different, we were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. Kazuma can. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys, to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, the envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. We want to remain here in Great Britain. I have to take Kazuma's place as a law student selected for his study tour. Yes, which means you need to requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying here in Great Britain, it's the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry to keep you waiting. Oh, hello. Let's see, what kind of voice do I actually want to give? I trust you are too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems it's only 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh no, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Mayor Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London, capital of our glorious British Empire. Ah, yes, thank you. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, well... Help! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh. We had a wonderful view of some of London streets from the carriage on the way from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts turnways and piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astonished. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Lieutenant. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming Great Exhibition we will be hosting here in London. Great Exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy show. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. If you do say so. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for the student tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand a young man lost his life aboard a steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese people are Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that is true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means this study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madame? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would we now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo? This is it then. A moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you'd consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead, but without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country. That was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo! If ruin things here, if I'm not careful, what am I gonna say? Is there someone else here from Japan that can be described as a lawyer? It's me. It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but no qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer? I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. I had Cosmo to help me, and I was the accused, but glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment on a journey here to Great Britain to study. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To be a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey has only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me on. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry. Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you good instead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words into trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intended to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or does his expression just alter a fraction there for a second? Very well. You have your wish. I will give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is certainly down to you. Entirely down to you. Really? So what form was this test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. What do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. Oh, we're going... No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it? Lord Strongheart. Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial. Murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. That's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he'll of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. You can't possibly agree to such a test. It would be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided to accept it. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die, depending on how we perform in court today. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. You say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What will it be? What is it to be? What do I say? Do you agree to this absurd test? I'll do it. Heck yeah, we're doing it. Alright then. If I have to give a decision now. I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That is too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Wait. What? Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Did I choose wrong? Sorry, Mrs. Sato. But what could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man or not. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madame? I think what Mrs. Sato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by threatening his one and only chance at a trial is so trivial. It would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his client in court day after. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day. but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh? Was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should see the Bailey there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence a judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from the very miserable end. And that is you. This game. So, what do you say now, madame? Me? What do you mean, Lord Stormguard? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend the man in these circumstances, and I agree. But, in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time here is up. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. February, 9:45 a.m. Old Bailey. Defendants. Antechamber. No number, okay. Oh, thank goodness. We're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver. And there's a genuine guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from Erlach Sholmes' stories. And it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die. And we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even in this room for the defendants to wait is great. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. What are you doing? Following me here? Think, very desperate, are they? Sorry? Why'd you look at those expressionless faces from the east of yours? Well, we're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan it is. Right. Say no more. So, how much do you see? Oh, no. We're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been in them myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to the name. And all the while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. Tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. Ha! 1,000 guineas? Please, Mrs. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion at the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? There's nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day. Enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah! Hit me in the eye! Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I wanted you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial is about to begin, you see. It's for me good self here. I'll be in the dark. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, thing is, don't worry about the thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. Or Chief Justice just wasn't making it all up. Terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Preston places. Do you not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose this isn't altogether impossible. Well, next to Hyde Park, in the center of London, is another beautiful park. I'm sorry? A park? What? It is called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London? A city of smiles, that is my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. That's amazing. I mean, extraordinary. Ah, but now they are to go to say I'm a no good for nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask you? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo? Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves, while a gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students, on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I have to saying, you daft G? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but it wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what is going on here. Sorry? I know what you were thinking. The Chancellor of a fellow claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, no, not at all. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange to be honest. Why don't you have a lawyer? Music cut out. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry? Did you just say Reaper? Aye, the grim Reaper of the Bailey Lair, Lord Bardock van Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. The prosecutor? Is the Grim Reaper? When Van Zeek stands in the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Okay, so we're basically going up against an Edgeworth. What? So it's reached a desperate situation. But there's no one willing to stand in defense against that fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Bardock Van Zeeks. He must be exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madame. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel? That would be me. Oh, it's time. Well then, fella. Don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. So you showed your face here. I made up my mind. So had I. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself. How would that have worked? But then you make an appearance. A student of law, wouldn't you know? It is no accident. I can assure you of that. It is fate. So I don't get cold feet now, please. And so you know nothing about the case. Or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that court, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. Get moving! I'll be right in. What's happening then? It's my first trial in British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Flaming scales of justice, okay. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Bailey. Centuries of history is the place of paladin is paladin. Isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court of Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes. What? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, just can't help it. name of Her Majesty, the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGillicuddy. I now call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the end. Counsel for the defense. You appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked the defense was He asked if the defense was I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those items please me, it would say. They shroud in fear your doubt, your tempest, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Cold shiver just ran down my spine, away the two tips of my toes. No, Mr. McGillicuddy. Yes, my lord? You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could have sent the gallows without guilt today. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've already said, my lord, it is a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fella is a student from some little island off in the far east. It is not the British way to ignore the dangers of yourself and give these less fortunate a chance. I'd like to think that the acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Seems as though everyone in a public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGillicuddy. It's definitely welcome news. He certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGillicuddy, and the most laudable statements. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartially. Are you ready to proceed? Yes, my lord. Okay, I'm not gonna remember what voices they give all 6, so be aware. Yes, my lord. If the task is to send runners to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, the lordship is always says you should dispatch of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Any criminal here will soon be wishing they'd never set eyes on me. Okay, so she's just a timeskeeper. Or she's just a bit. I feel chilled. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my day. Mustn't finish these mints for my grandson. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Those people are the jury. Yes. It's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right. I've only read of it. We've never read of it. Here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence. According to the law, with the jurors determine the guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged with the 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly is the jurors to get their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will be clear as the trial progresses. Yes. If you were studying British law on the way over here, you should know exactly how the jury works. Prosecutor von Sees. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the court. I thought you'd pronounce your fate. I know I am the people of the Bailey infamy rather than famous. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstances that is important to be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. The Reaper has been out for actually 5 years. Why did you choose today of all days to make a comment? Don't lose heart, Mr. Narwhal. As you wish, the court nevertheless welcomes your return. Cousin, opening statement is a summary of the case if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. Must be the only ones on here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice Fried Mason. Sorry? Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus service on the streets of London at the time. The dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigation medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, cops. You should accept the photograph. Accept that and the photograph as evidence. Report prepared by Scotland Yard coroner. It gives a cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Photograph is a victim taken on an unmasked knife. His abdomen is clearly visible, but the face is partially obscured from view by an old man's crooked hand. Why do I feel like that's gonna be? One further item of evidence. Prosecution was to submit these as well. And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. Gilda's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. Mason, brickmaker. It's missing a button. Definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be comforted in our first day of life. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. Gilder right-handed? Yes, I believe so. So yeah, it's a right-hand glove. Pity. Only I've been left-handed. I think blood in either hand would be fairly incriminating, really. Not anything inside the gloves? started. Continue. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Was the McGilded? To be sure, I rode the omnibus then. I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken down with the fierce tiredness and I always scramble to. Are you claiming to have been asleep? Tis the motion of the carriage, Lord Lynn. So it is, and when I opened my eyes again, it was a desperate sight before me. The body of man I had never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul would rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So blood got into the gloves and the man had been killed. Unfortunately. That statement of the driver's is omnipresent. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Order! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. This is a nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we'll hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Pep. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. I make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at the short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you were present in the stand. All of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witnessed the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Very well then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I started my bus and then saw it too. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated in the outset. Yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen inside the other moving carriage. Oh, great. I read that civilization in the Eastern Island nation was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, Mr. Nippon Sven. Have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. Only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for all of us to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime with this. What? Do you mean the actual scene? How? The carriage is designed to be moved after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Windows look tinted. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. Can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Four passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from atop the omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guest that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing the view of the interior seats above. Ah, a skylight. Ugh. The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Though the skylight. That makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, is this a first? In all my years behind the bench, I never experienced the crime scene itself being brought to court. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. The omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene enters evidence? Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Scene of a murder. It's horrible. That's blood that's soaked into the sea. The victims, obviously. Yes, that in the sea would be clearly visible from the proof. Did you really stab somebody through the in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. From the way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. It's supposed to be a great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. A lot of folks being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, it's a Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Wait, I can't see out. Quite large enough to afford a good view in Capitol. It doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. So it can't be opened from inside the Capitol at least. It's a poster for the great exhibition that's going to start soon. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside. You can see the set of characters opening, that's for sure. Yes, there's a lamp in the closed cabin. I'm sure the witnesses could have been able to see it quite quickly. Nice. Nice little Easter egg there. Phoenix, right? Omnibus. So this is a roof-decked omnibus. Must have a wonderful view of London streets from here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? Enough to pay money to do so? Brr, can't imagine how it must feel. So you think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination. Let us continue with the proceedings, then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect this nimble stray to understand the intricacies of the British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Hold it! And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There's a lamp inside, so I had plenty of good view. Two of them were waiting wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shadow of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden. How do you know? How can you be so sure? Well, put it play. Mr. McGill is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have been mistaken for him for any else. Let us not forget that the vehicle came to a halt. The only person inside the enclosed cabin was the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGill. There is no room for doubt here. Really wish there was. And out of the blue, the accused just reached over and put the knife right into his guts.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I say that to testify that? Or a fair drunk? Think I'm hard-working city banker, not considered trustworthy these days. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. It's no good. He's really got his back on him. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail if that's true. My lord. Juror number 3. What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something. Or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. That little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. This is a biased juror? Like, why was he allowed? There's no point in wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter. Hold it. That is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it is my duty to set a good example to the jury. What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. Well, white for the innocent, black for the guilty. The 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case. One by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, what does that mean? Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
Hold it!
Saw what, Jim? What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir. Would it be the passenger, sir? Yeah, collapsed on the floor he was. That's not right. And by the passenger, obviously you were referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. The passenger had the knife in his hand like this. By the other passenger, you're obviously referring to the accused, Mr. McGill, Magnus McGill. He plugged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger's belly. 2 contradictions right there. No more. He heard a stab, so he stopped his car and looked, and he saw a second stab, basically, is what he's saying. That's not right. What? My lord, if you're willing to forgive the interruption. Ah, juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGilden is a pillar of society and a gentleman. And a gentleman's word should not be said. Sir, son. However, those of us in service know we must accept the hard truths. Wait, what do you have to do? Dispose of the rubbish. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I would like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. I basically typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Not again! Yes, 4 of the 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, they make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need to do more than anything in this moment, we're still waiting. We're still very much in the dark. So we'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may fly. Alright, keep trying. Can't give up. Just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. So it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin area were the victims and defendant. So help me. 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend his deed. I like to be pessimistic, but what seemed to be a rather difficult situation. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGill really is? Could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task would be to gather information and to understand the case much better than we do at the moment.
Hold it!
Yes, I think that's sometime after 10, was it? Four passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts as the bus, but of course, no. There were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right. Exact, sir. No other passengers, no. I was running every evening, the last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. So sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, so being so cold and everything, only making 20 pence a nap over on a run, you see. I spend that much on the pub when I'm just trying to warm up again.
Hold it! Hold it!
Oh, yes.
Hold it!
Stabbed him, you said? So you were sitting up roof deck area. Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing a little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see. So I was just gazing absentmindedly around. But then I happened to look down right through the skylight. It was sticking right out of his belly. It was a huge, great knife. Grim sight indeed. That didn't help me at all. It looks like they're even more convinced my kind did before. Everyone even more dubious. There's some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. Fuss. Oh, yes, sir. Is this the knife you saw? Good grief, yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that? Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through her heart. That is a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is. And furthermore, the scabbard is embedded with prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Oh, please, no. M, for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly? Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes. Mason.
Objection!
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No. This weapon of murder is almost certainly belongs to the accused. Not conclusively, but certainly compelling, Counsel. My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it? As the master of London Guild coachman, the idea of murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. Wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, so I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. Oh no, please. She's up, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Alright, so we just got the opening. Hey, Madsy. Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear. What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh, yes. I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your learning? Lady. Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit. I always go to the park at around the same time of day and sit on a nice bench to get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park near there where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. Mother, when you got into McGillivray Park Forest of neighborhood? How many Londoners live in their heads in the clouds. Do you people not know what kind of man Magnus McGillen really is? What kind of man he is? The philanthropist Magnus McGillen has enough wealth to purchase the entire city of London, he claims, to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir. And one with a very darkest of souls. Stone of Crows? McGillen lends money to rodent rates of interest to his so his victims have no hope of repaying. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard of any mention of that before. Is this actually true, though? Your falsities have understood you. Sure. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man of wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of its own? What possible reason could this man have had to make a use of public omnibus service? You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name to save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that the creditor was accused of Magnus McGillen. And it should also be noted that the very day Mr. Mayhem was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which he could repay his debts. And in the end, his pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist Vendetta, Magnus McGilden. Don't believe it.
Hold it!
If I might add something, briefly. Mrs. Otto? You claim that the victim had lent money by Mr. McGillen. Where is the evidence to support that claim? Pray, forgive the discourtesy of my filling hollowed chalice in the court of law. Aha! There it is. The Lord Van Zieg's hollowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in an unexpected good humor. I heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. As a judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is a debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You'll find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the ignominious East in the same time. A marvelous toast, counsel. I will gratefully accept this new evidence. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. All courts a secret of Dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know of any legitimate person. Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. If we see his name in here, I swear. I assure you will not find Mr. Schnoem's name inside. Well, let's see what we find. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, is it? Well, I suppose they're not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Isn't that one of the witnesses? Should I mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, of course, the baker. Why is his name in here? He borrowed 20 guineas, did he? Look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that it's just a coincidence, of course. But this could be useful information. Aw, snap. And the accused made quite certain that he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pull over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the court used. And it's pretty much a little part, too. What a scoundrel. Still. Maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more important. I don't stand for nonsense. That was it. Last juror's decision. According to this encyclopedia of British law, all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty. Court proceedings are suspended, and the judge will deliver a final verdict and a sentence. That's what it says here. Final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense. All six members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Mrs. Otto, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes. You were in the middle of saying something before. Footnote here looks like pretty British law. However, the defense. What does it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. All members of the jury have concluded the defendant is guilty. Court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. The footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Oh, we get to question the jurors. Be like, hold on a second. A summation? Examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? From which century is that tome you have been in? Judging from that binding, it says the book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an acquainted procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Mrs. Otto? The so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment, and I'll read about. You demand the right to procedure before you even understand what it entails. Typical nimbus. Alright, Mr. Naruto, I think I understand. It seems that under the procedure, we'd be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to make the change their leaning and reverse their decision. And it says it here that, if successful, the proceedings go to the trial are resumed. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the juror's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really. But I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even arrest his right to try this day and age. Oh, we're gonna try it. We're going for it. I don't care. I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be adequate and legally forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Heck yes! Let's do this! Summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right? The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city and the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. A summation examinations are an embarrassment that should be remain.
Objection!
No. But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with a summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? I'm not, well, there's no mention of the letter I received, you see, so all members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decision and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. It's most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold all this justifying the blood. It seems to have thrown all the jurors off. Seems none of them have experienced this before. Right then, summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years. Well, just maybe, it might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you define the defendant Magnus McGilded guilty of the most serious crime.